What's up, guys? Straight from the chest. My name is Justin Groth, and I am your host, guys. Thank you for tuning in with me. Welcome to those who are new, and thank you to those that have been listening to me for any length of time. I appreciate you more than you know. Guys, this is going to be a solid hitter on this podcast this time because honestly, I don't really, I kind of fancied you the last time with a lot of commentary that was going on in my life, and I just be honest, I just don't want to do that this podcast. I just want to get to it. And when I was I was leading with this. I was praying earlier, and just so you guys have some context, most of the time, if not every time, before I jump on here, I pray. I don't meditate, I pray. Do it, but I'm just not a meditator. I don't know how to do it. I've been told or instructed how to do it, and I don't get it. I'd rather pray. To me, that's my meditation. It's spiritual meditation for me, but I got to talk to somebody. I've always been talking to somebody my entire life, whether it's myself, my parents, my friends. I got to talk to somebody. So I'm talking to God. So anyways, I'm talking to God, and I'm praying, and I'm asking him to give me the words of encouragement for this podcast and give me the direction and the navigation. And the word, and this happens to me sometimes, you feel like you have a vocabulary that you extract words from. And I feel like we all have that. We all have an understanding of what that is. And there's oftentimes words you never use ever. And sometimes they just appear in your neurological vocabulary, right? Because that's what it is. It's not some type of thing you can reference. It's a construct in your framework, and it's vocabulary. You open that folder, that's vocabulary, right? Okay. So that probably doesn't make any sense to you, but to me it does. Sorry. But anyways, this word comes to me, and it just keeps coming to me over and over again. And the word is podiums. And I know it's not a big word, it's not an extensive word, but I never use that word ever. I never, ever seem to use the word podium. But as I'm praying, I feel like God's giving me the word podium. Podium, podium. And I think that it bears a lot of significance in obvious relation to what I was praying about, but also, I think in just general in our life, and I feel like we're, with everything kind of opening back up again, gyms being one of those, my gym is opening back up. But for those of you who know, my gym isn't really a gym to the public. It's more of a personal training studio. But it means that I'll be going back to work, and I love the fact that I'm going to have responsibility again, because for the longest time I feel like I haven't had responsibility, or at least the same kind of responsibility that I once had, and that makes me feel like I'm a little worthless, I'll be honest. But so I'm glad to get back to that. However, there has to be a transition there has to be a transition to be made. And I don't think that I guess what I'm trying to get at is this. Oftentimes in life, we can become too concerted around the norm, and we produce our own norm. We produce a comfort around that norm. And because it's steady making us and providing for us, and it's establishing us, we often don't move out of that because we don't try to navigate outwards, because we're so we're so grateful and thankful and all that. And sometimes the gratitude and the thankfulness can actually suppress you, I feel. I'm not saying that you shouldn't give thanks to God and be grateful for where he's taking you, but I also know this about God. He's far bigger than you give him credit for. And he wants to do far exceedingly abundantly in your life than you think or you want and you give him credit for. And so I really feel like when you say the word podium, that should have a ripple effect in everybody's life, because there always are podiums that we're kind of passed on to. When we're younger, we think we make it to some level of experience or some level of education, some level in our career or whatever. And we're at a certain level of we're at a certain podium height. If you want to call it, you want to reference it. We're at a certain podium height, and that's cool for that time because it serves a purpose. But then, obviously, we graduate from that podium and we move on to a bigger podium that obviously is encapsulated around more responsibility and more of a direction, more discipline is involved with it as well. Again, more responsibility. So more responsibility, you have to become more disciplined to handle the responsibility and to organize things in your life, etc., to be able to handle the responsibility. Okay, fine. But here's the thing. In our latter years, because what we're doing, and when I say latter, I mean like our adulthood, it's producing for us, and probably very, very substantially producing for us, we can get caught up in just staying at that podium. And because it's giving us the life that we think we want, etc., we stay there. And what I got from this prayer is God is saying, I need you to think more audaciously. I need you to think bigger of me. I need you to know that you're going to bigger and taller podiums. 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 And I just kept, that word just kept, relishing in me. And I have to tell you about it because you guys, and me included, we get so caught up in being thankful and grateful, and I get all that. But to some level, if you're not thanking him for the things that you can't see yet, and you're not thanking him for the things that he hasn't done yet, but you can feel he's starting to ignite you towards, then I'm telling you, you're missing out on everything you could have. You're missing out on everything that you could be. Because let's be honest, what you're going to have is going to be a direct byproduct of what you're enabling yourself to become. And that means through him, because we know you can't do this on your own. That's it. That's period. That's factual. You want to try it, be my guest. But you're more than likely, if not 100% of the time, going to fail miserably. Hey, here's the thing. That's what I feel right now, and that's what I felt for a long time, just haven't had the ability to kind of extract it for what it is. I know I talk about levels like that in my other podcasts, but here's the thing. This is just a tad bit different. It's a tad bit different because it's calling you to be a little bit more audacity in what you feel about yourself and what you feel you deserve. If you're going along the wrong lines in life and you're doing piece of shit type of things in your life, you're right. You probably don't deserve what's coming to you. But if you are doing those things and you have an element of malevolence to you, you're probably not on track with God in the first place, and which means you're not even thinking about what more you can do or what more you can be, because every day is just a fight to survive. And you're surviving with the devil. That's really what's going on. Okay. But if you're on the other end of the spectrum here, and you're consistently breathing your best in life, and you're trying to be your best, you have your faults, you mess up probably daily because you're not a good human being. I mean, we're all not to some degree, but we try our best, and we try to consistently be better. And that is where we build bigger, better, higher, taller podiums. And you have to understand that there is so much more that God wants to do and breathe in your life, but you're the culprit, dude. You're the block behind why you're not leveling up higher. And I'm also not saying that there's gonna be it's on your call, it's on your dime when you level up, because that's not true. It's not by your hand of force. It's not by your hand of impetus that this thing is going to calibrate to a new level. It's going to be by God's hand. But what I am saying is this: you need to be more obedient than obedient in the audacity that you know that you have able and actually appointed to you, but not be so I don't want to call it meek, but be so we don't want to be pejorative over ourselves. We don't want to belittle what we have or just be grateful for that. We want to know that we have more levels to achieve. And the only way to do that is to take the bars off of God. Like, he's got so much more in store. He's so much bigger than you give him credit for. And he actually has a bigger plan than what you have. And he's trying to get you to see that. But because you're probably centered around all this normalcy and comfort and also you're centered around being grateful and thankful, and I get all that. But God's trying to tell you, man, you got new podiums to be at. I want to bring you to taller podiums. But you just keep being okay here. And really, I'm moving in a different direction because I keep moving, but you're not following me. You're standing still. You're trying to check the scenery out. And I'm telling you, let's keep going. I got bigger, better podiums for you. But you're just like, you're just kind of off in the distance and gazing at the scenery. Like, that's cool for a season of your life. But then you have to disconnect, and you have to be able to be elevated and actually allow God to take you. And that's where obedience comes in. Because you're going to new places. You're going to higher levels that you've never encountered before. And there are things on those levels and elements that are foreign to you. And if you try to figure it out and dissect it yourself, you'll probably fail. But if you're obedient to where he wants to take you, and you allow yourself to be audacic in the process and really just giving a hand of faith to the person that created you in the first place, and obviously knows what he's doing when he created you and already had a plan for your future when he created you, then you'll be all right, and you'll see that this isn't as hard or as complex as you're making it. And it starts, I believe, with you not thinking that you're positioned for a higher podium in life. And I believe that you are. I believe that we all are. I also believe that there are people that get to their podium and that's where they should stay. And they're perfectly okay with that, and that's God's plan for them. But there's something centered around the people that are just way too disagreeable by nature, contentious, but in the right regard, and have an integral and moral stance behind why they're those reasons. I believe there's more of a vastness for those people. And because those are the types of people that create Apple, Samsung. Those are the types of people that are big in this planet. We need people like that too. You may be that person, you may not be. But what I'm saying is, I do believe that where you're at right now and what you allow to circumvent in your life, there's bigger and better shit for you. But you have to receive it. And the only way you're going to receive that is by thinking a little bit audacically, which means you going outside of the box. And that's hard, man. That's hard. Because you're like, yeah, but I got it good right now, Justin. I got it good. And I don't want to mess a good thing up. And there's admiration behind that. But that can also be your demise. If you think that this is it. This is it. Like, this is it because it's going good. Like, I wrestle with this because you're not going to see in the darkness where God is taking you. You're not going to be able to give your faith to something. It's hard to give your faith to something that you can't see and touch and talk to. I get all that. And I'm not even going to go into the argument of, will you trust the plane, pilot before you get on a plane and you've never seen him or talked to him before. I'm not going to get in all that ruckus. But here's the thing. This is way more expensive than you're giving it credit for. You have way more to do. You have way taller podiums to be at and be positioned for. But the one that's holding you back is you. You're not receiving it. You got to forget what people are telling you. You got to forget what your mom and your dad are telling you or what they're trying to constrain you to. Whatever is speaking to you internally, whatever is speaking to your gut, that's God. He's speaking to your conscience. He's telling you, this is where you have to go. You need to have fear associated with what you're doing, because if not, there's no reason to do it. There's always going to be some uncertainty and ambiguity centered around where you're going. There must be that, because if there wasn't, it wouldn't be worth going. Period. But that's how you get to the taller podiums. You can twist and contort any other way you'd like, but that's the facts, man. You can think that it's different, that it's going to be by your hand of ambition, by your hand of action that's going to make this shit happen. That's not how it works, man. And maybe we can agree to disagree. You feel that way, I feel this way. You can feel Justin, you're just a dream weaver. You're just wandering in spiritual land, and you need to be out there being active and da. Well, listen, that doesn't coincide with everything that I talk about, with everything that I deliver. Because I also feel like people like you think that you're man-made and self-made, and that's not accurate in my book. I've talked about it before. You're not self-made. Because God gave you the vision in the first place. He gave you the ability and the talent in the first place that's providing your mansion and your yacht or your Rollies or whatever. Like, don't get it twisted, bro. Don't get it twisted. Thinking that you're your own demigod and you can do this shit on your own. You'll fall flat on your face real quick. And we can also get into the fact that the devil gives blessings too. But that's not what we're trying to talk about right now. I'm trying to enlist in you the fact that you need to be just a little bit more audacious with where you're going. You need to be thankful and grateful, yes, but you got to be willing and ready and open to step into new territory that you've never encountered before, that's going to have different set of lions and packs of panthers that you're going to be like freaking out over, but you have a hand of guidance. And when you're obedient to that hand, I promise you, he won't fail you. That's it. The podium is bigger on the other side, and that's where you belong. Done.